So the next one I want to talk about, Michael, is one you brought up earlier, was the Baltimore Ravens traveling down to the hapless Miami Dolphins, and Dolphins are who we thought they were, right?
Yes, the prediction to be 2-14. I might have to rephrase that. Maybe 0-16. I mean, if I was a Ravens fan, I'd be like Flacco, who, because the way Lamar Jackson played was phenomenal. 17 for 20, 324 yards, 5 touchdowns
In 3 quarters.
3 quarters. I mean, who can do that in a season opener on the road? I mean, I gotta give credit to the 65,000 fans that came out there and watched that game. You paid to watch that team lose by 49 points. I mean that game.
Well, you know what? Here's what there's 2 ways to look at this. Are the Ravens really that prolific, or the Dolphins just really that bad? Because, after the game, you've got players openly asking for trades.
Yeah.
They want out of there. I mean, everybody's predicting this is going to be the team with the first pick in the draft, and these guys are jumping ship after one game. I mean, it's
really bad when they talk about who would the Dolphins pick at the first round, first pick of next year's draft. I mean, that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're one game into, and you got 15 more games of pure fun in Miami. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel sorry for the fan base. I feel sorry, the coach. I mean, it was awful. I mean, I'm lucky that I wasn't picked as lucky viewership to watch that game. I mean, I'm just glad I got to see the little scoreboard on the
right.
But I mean, they let the Ravens most yards, 640.
Yeah, 643 yards. That looks like that looks like Oklahoma playing Texas Tech.
That looks
yards.
like something I would get on a Madden football game if I was playing on the computer. You know what I mean? That was
they averaged 8.8 yards per play. That's Madden. That's
right.
John Madden's football stats there.
I mean, it was. I mean, there were some standouts on the offense.
Yeah, for Ravens.
Yes.
I looked at Mark Ingram, 14 carries, 107 yards. And then the rookie Marquis Hollywood Brown, 4 catches for 147 yards and 2 TDs. And tight end Mark Andrews, 8 catches for 108. I mean, just like everyone was having a field day. Everybody just checking off the box. I got my 100 yards. I got my 100 yards. Go to the bench and and then Robert Griffin came in and finished them off. But
the highlight probably for the Dolphins, I hate to say it, was probably at the concession stands. I mean, I would not sit to watch that beating. I mean, and the quarterbacks the Dolphins have, they didn't do nothing. They didn't do. I mean, Fitzpatrick got replaced in the third quarter.
He was probably thankful for that too. Oh, thank God they pulled me.
He was 14 for 29 for 185 yards.
Yeah, 29
passes.
For how many yards?
185.
Wow, man, that is. Ugh.
And Rosen didn't do his 1 for 3 for 54 yards. I mean,
But you know what? They gave up. I mean, they gave their left tackle away. 2 weeks before the season, started, they traded away Laramie Tunsil, who had his problems last night with the Titans. But, man, you got to give these guys some protection, because you can't put a rookie out there, especially, Rosen's not a rookie, but, he had to play behind that terrible line with the Cardinals, terrible team, had the worst record in NFL. Now you send him to another team who's going to have the worst record in NFL. And you're going to, are we going to go with this guy as our future? Or are we going to draft, the Alabama quarterback with the first pick? Or are we going to draft the Oregon quarterback with the first pick?
And the thing is, everyone's going to say this is the Super Bowl curse, meaning anyone that hosts a team, that team does not do well. But we
knew this going in.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there looking at this. They only gave up 3 sacks.
Yeah, but you still gave up 59 points.
I understand, but I'm talking about on their offense when they're trying, when the other team knows you got to throw, and they still only got home, 3 times on them. Yards per rush. You want to hear something? Just how bad their offensive line was. They had 21 rushing yards on 12 attempts. They averaged only 1.8 yards per carry. And that's probably throwing in the 11 yards they lost in sacks. So you're like, man, these boys. I would be looking at everybody's rosters. No, I'm looking at everybody's rosters and seeing who they've got, hidden there on their practice squad, and I'd just start going and getting them.
Unless the Ravens are that good. I mean, unless there's something that Ravens might be, the team, you never know. But to only allow 10 points and you're scoring 59. But like I said, Jackson did great. I mean, you can't say anything less than what he did. I mean, it was just a great game if you're a Ravens fan, and it just.
Well, he's heard all the criticism about how, he's a run-only quarterback and he's got the college offense and he can't be an NFL passer. Well, this right here goes a long way in shutting everybody up as far as that aspect of it because, man, how could you even get him better than what he just did?
I mean, it was a beating, and like I said, I got to reward the 65,000 fans that showed up to that game.
To watch your home team on its opener get beat like a sled dog out there.
I mean,
I don't know, man. It's just, like I was saying, Lamar Jackson heard your critiques and he declared them invalid, at least for one game.
Jim, another game I really enjoyed watching was the Redskins play against the Eagles. 27-32, Philadelphia won at home. It kind of looked like we saw the Sean Jackson of old.
Instead of the old Sean Jackson.
Yeah. 8 catches, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns. Carson Wentz, 3 touchdowns, 313 yards. What did you like about that game?
Well, what I thought was a telling thing about the game was the Redskins' penalties. I mean, after they jumped out on them boys big in the first half, they come out and they get behind the chains and they had 2 3-and-outs. And that's what shifted the momentum right there because, when you look at it, it was the penalties. The telling stat of the game, just 12 penalties for 96 yards. You were winning on the road. You didn't have any fumbles, didn't even throw any interceptions. It was clean from that standpoint.
Case Keenum did great. He had 3 touchdown passes.
3 touchdown passes.
And that's...
that was all in the first half, wasn't it?
Yes.
And then there was penalties and just...
It was all... it just kind of went downhill. I know the Redskins, their schedule doesn't get better. They have no home opener against the Cowboys.
Right. But that's a rivalry game, so you can expect anything on that.
But it was just... it seems closer than what it really was, but it really wasn't. If you were looking if you're a fan, you'd be like, oh, that must have been a close game, but penalties got to hit them hard. I'm impressed with Case Keenum throwing, 3 touchdown passes. He definitely wasn't like that when he was with Denver.
Right.
And the Eagles did good too.
Yeah, Eagles had the ball for 34 minutes and 27 seconds, and Redskins only had it for 25 minutes. So you keeping them boys on the sidelines, you got the ball for an extra 10 minutes. One thing that struck me is Adrian Peterson was inactive for this game. Okay. And then you look over at the rushing yards, and you have 28 rushing yards, and you got that guy inactive. What do you have, 1,200 yards rushing last year?
Yeah, that's
might want to rethink this. They come out with some pretty bad injuries. They lost Josh Allen. He's with a bad, not bad, just he's going to be week to week on his knee. Trent Williams holdout, obviously affects the running game because he's one of the more dominant left tackles in the league. Mm-hmm. So, they bring in Penn and whoever else, but there's a reason that guy was available. I mean, he's not Trent Williams, and you really need him when you lose a player of that caliber. It affects you greatly. The Redskins had 15 first downs, all passing.
Huh.
Didn't have one rushing first down. Okay. Neither team had a first down off penalties, so third down efficiency. This killed the Redskins, man. They were 5 of 13 while the Eagles were 11 of 17. And they Redskins went for it twice on fourth down and got it both times, and Eagles went for it twice and got it once. So, but look at these yardage totals: 398 yards for the Redskins. I mean, that's a lot of yards,
Right.
And the Eagles had 436 yards. Both of them had 10 drives. Both of them was Redskins averaged 6.9 yards per play. Eagles 6.1. I mean,
But I mean, in the NFL with these games, these first 2 weeks, the one thing you don't work on is your penalties, because every team is going to have high penalties, no matter.
well, some of them are and some of them aren't. I think a lot of that goes back to like what we talked about: who played their starters in the preseason. Only way you can get ready to play football is to play football. You got to be especially these offensive lines. They need to work. So you need to play these boys together.
And once you see, get a couple more games underneath the belt, you start seeing the penalty yards go down. But to give that many penalty yards, it's crazy. And not converting on third down, that can make or break a team right there too.
Yep.
And I mean,
we're talking about the Redskins. We're not talking about the Dolphins here, a team, with just a lack of talent. I mean, the Redskins, like we talked about on our preview show, before Alex Smith got hurt, these boys were leading the NFC East. They
Right.
were in first place last year. So, man.
and then
That collapse, but how much of that collapse was just due to Philadelphia being that good? I mean, because you remember, I picked them to win the NFC East.
right, and that was a shocker for everyone to hear that.
It was, but you just look at their talent level. They just have a solid roster. Their backups are good. I mean, they've spent money well. Mm-hmm. I mean, they don't have a lot of overpaid guys. I mean, they've got their backups. I mean, they won a Super Bowl with their left tackle being out. So, and they still have the kid, that was the backup. They still have him sitting on the bench. I mean, they're formidable.
I mean, and the Redskins, hopefully they can bounce back. But like I said, they have the home opener against the Cowboys division game. And you never know what could happen, if it could be a blowout or if it be a close game, because that's the two things with the Cowboys.
Yeah, because the Cowboys on emotional high right now. All's well in the world. They scored at will, and now they got to go on the road. And, they look at the tape and see a Redskins team with all that many penalties, and they probably think, oh, it's going to be a cakewalk. Boy, that's a trap game right there. That is because you're not as good as your headlines say you are.
Right.
And the Redskins aren't as bad as their headlines are saying they are. So,
and you never know. It could be Cowboys end up that game 1-1 or 2-0. It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's a
looking forward to it, that's
good,
for sure.
Yeah, good early game to watch on Sunday.